Story, a daily news show where we talk about the hottest topics of today right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Kimberly Jiao, coming to you live from the Straits Times, and we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so do leave us a comment, like and share it with your friends, as well as hit the bell to be told whenever we go live. I'll be joined by a couple of my newsroom colleagues to discuss what got you talking today. Our first story: plans have been announced to build a dementia care village in Sembawang, the first of its kind in Singapore. And with me to discuss this today is ST correspondent Joyce Teo. Hello, Joyce.
Hi.
So could you tell us a little bit more about this condition called dementia?
Yes, it is not a disease. It's actually a general term that's used to describe a set of symptoms associated with cognitive decline that's caused by different diseases. So the most common is Alzheimer's disease. So the symptoms associated with it would be memory loss. You may have problems with language, confusion about time and place. There might be mood changes. There might even be personality changes at a later stage. Some people think it's a part of aging, but it's not. So it is a progressive disease. It worsens with time, and then the cognitive decline can be severe enough to affect your daily living. So I've read, like, one of the example would be, you might with normal aging, you might forget maybe one of your neighbor's names, right? But you know he's your neighbor. But if you have dementia, right, you forget the person's name and you forget who he is. You don't even know that he's your neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in the normal aging, you might forget where you put your keys, where you park your car, and then your family would not be very worried about it, but you may be worried. But with dementia, your family may be worried about your memory because it can be quite serious, right? But you are not aware that you have a problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
How prevalent would you say is dementia in Singapore?
In Singapore, an estimated 1 in 10 people aged 60 and above has dementia.
Wow.
And then the proportion goes up to 1 in 2 for those aged 85 and above. And then the population here is aging, right? So it's estimated that by 2030, we will have there will be 103,000 people who have dementia.
Wow, that's very shocking. So within this story, we're talking about this dementia village, right? So what exactly is it?
I think it's just a place for dementia patients to live their life as normally as they can.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a new concept. It's like a gated community, so it's safe for them. They can walk around, and then you don't have to worry about them getting lost as they might if they're outside. The government just announced this. So the site is in Sembawang. There is a 30-year lease. There are like 10 buildings in it. So it depends on the proposals that come in. We don't know, but the idea is for a village is to have residential spaces and also other facilities. Like there might be, depending on what they propose, there can be a shop, a supermarket, like an eating place, like maybe a kopitiam or a hawker center, because in Singapore that's what we are familiar with, or there can be a barber shop. So places that they can go to, walk around, so they're actually not confined to their rooms or their beds.
Oh.
Yeah. And so and then the thing about having a dementia village is the people who work there, right? They are actually trained to deal with dementia patients.
Okay.
So they understand the condition. So for instance, if you go and buy something at the shop, right? You're happy to buy something for yourself and you want to pay for it, but you might forget to pay. So they will understand that it is the condition, and they might actually try to remind you to pay because they know that you want to do it. You want to be independent. But if you do that outside, you take something, you'd be accused of shoplifting, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like a traditional nursing home at all in that case?
No, it's totally, it's not like a traditional nursing home like what we've known. So I've spoke to a professor, Philip Yap. He's the head of geriatric medicine at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital. So he said in the dementia village, I think the key focus would be less on care and then more on helping the patients live their life as normal a life as possible. It requires a shift of thinking. It's very different from what is done here. So here in Singapore, right, the usual nursing homes that we have, they're modeled after hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite a clinical setting, right? And then in a care-based kind of institution, they take care of you because you're seen as sick, you're treated as sick, or you can't just go out and wander around by yourself. So you follow a standard routine. The food is quite standardized. You don't have as much freedom. So it's very different from, say, having this idea of a dementia village.
Right.
Yeah.
This dementia village is more of sort of seeing the person behind the disease rather than as a patient.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because you still have your needs, you still have your long-term memory. Maybe it's usually intact. You start with the short-term memory first. Yeah.
So how is this village going to help with their independence? I think off camera you mentioned that independence is a very big factor when it comes to dementia care villages.
Yes, you encourage them to live their own life. They maintain their independence. So in that sense, they retain their ability to do things, right? So they feel good about themselves. So in doing that, you improve their well-being, their identity. They feel better, and then when you're happy, the cognitive decline slows down. It's slower.
I see. So it's really all about encouraging their independence while keeping them safe.
Yes, and then in that way you help them as well, to have a better quality of life, and then you slow the cognitive decline.
I see.
Yes.
Well, it's still in its early stages at the moment.
Yes.
So if you are looking for follow-up stories with the Dementia Care Village, and they might be and will be in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Do stay tuned to www.shadestimes.com. Thanks, Joyce, for sharing more with us.
Thank you.
Our second story, in Taiwan, China-friendly Mayor Han Kuo-yu has won the opposition party's nomination for the 2020 presidential polls, posing a direct challenge to President Tsai Ing-wen, who is seeking re-election. With me to discuss this today is East Asia editor Goh Sui Noi. Hello.
Hi.
So Han Kuo-yu beat out billionaire Terry Goh and 3 other contenders to become the opposition Kuomintang's presidential candidate, right? Did this come to you as a surprise?
No, not really. It wasn't really a surprise because, first of all, Terry Goh, the billionaire, he has a lot of business concerns in China. He has many factories there manufacturing the iPhone and other types of electronic devices. And if he got elected as president, the worry among the Taiwanese is that there could be conflicts of interest.
I see.
And on the other hand, Han Kuo-yu, he's a populist, and he's really immensely popular with the Taiwanese public. He ran for the Kaohsiung mayoralty last year as an outsider, but he won the election comfortably, beating the candidate of the Democratic Progressive Party, which had been in power in the city for 20 years. So that really says something about his ability to win over the public. And he did that by projecting this image of someone who understands and feels the frustrations of the voters. And he also ran on this platform of pro-business.
Okay.
In a city that had seen some economic stagnation. Yeah. He ran on this slogan that said 100% economy, 0% politics. Yeah. So, and for this presidential nomination, what he did was he again appealed to the common folk. He said that he would be president of the common people and that he will help Taiwanese become rich.
I see. Well, that's a lofty claim.
Yes.
And Han has also this China-friendly stance, you would say. So are there any concerns about Taiwan's sovereignty, especially when we consider what has happened in Hong Kong recently?
Yes, certainly. His image as someone who is China-friendly could be his Achilles heel going into the January presidential election against the incumbent Tsai Ing-wen, who is from the pro-independence DPP. So the fact that he had closed-door meetings with government officials from China, including Beijing's point man in Hong Kong, would make Taiwanese a bit nervous about him. This is because Taiwanese don't really want unification with China at this point in time when China is still quite authoritarian. Taiwan is a democracy, so Taiwanese enjoy democratic freedoms, that they are worried that if Taiwan should reunify with China, they will lose. Yeah, and what is happening in Hong Kong now really does not inspire confidence among the Taiwanese. So we've seen how Hong Kong is governed under this one country, two systems formula, which is supposed to give Hong Kongers a high degree of autonomy. But we've seen how people have gone into protest in the streets against an extradition bill that they feel will curtail their freedoms. And China trying to sell this one country, two systems formula for reunification with Taiwan really, it's not something that the Taiwanese really, would look forward to. But on the other hand, coming back to Han Kuo-yu and his chances, he did come from nowhere in the Kaohsiung election,
Right.
to win it. So he may get around this problem of being seen as too China friendly. So whoever is running against him, whether it's Tsai Ing-wen or somebody else who has come up to challenge him, I think they'll do well to really stay on their toes.
Right. Stay vigilant. So speaking of the other people who are might be racing against him, are there anyone who's trying to put their hat into the ring?
Yes, well, there's one name that's been bandied about, the Taipei Mayor Ke Wen-je. There's been speculation that he may throw his hat in the ring as an independent.
Right.
And if he does so, then he will really strengthen the chances of Han Kuo-yu, because he would likely split the DPP vote. It's because he's actually more closely aligned to the DPP than to the KMT.
I see. Well, the elections are going to, the election, my apologies, is going to be in January. So actually it's still kind of early stages. So if you'd like to keep up with the Taiwan election, please do stay tuned to www.straitstimes.com. Thanks to Inoi for sharing more with us. And those are our top stories of the day. Once again, if you'd like more news and stories, do head on to www.straitstimes.com. I'm Kimberly Jiao. Thank you for watching The Big Story, and we'll see you tomorrow.